Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Enough to Keep Going podcast. This is episode number 285, and I'm your host, Taomaster99, for tonight. And this is episode for April 10th, 2023. Just the two of us tonight, but it's not DBQ or Game Logic tonight. No, we have Mr. SwissGuard is back with us. Swiss, how you doing?
Recovering from the Easter sugar rush.
Yeah, no. So it hasn't been too bad. I think it's been, just a couple weeks now since the last time you were on. So not
Yeah.
too long. So, yeah. So not long enough for us to miss you quite yet. All right, so we're going to get started here. First up was our main gamer experience stories. And tonight I actually have a mobile game, of all games, to talk about tonight. So it's a game called Pocket City 2. And I've been playing this on my Android, my Google Pixel 6, actually. And I never played the first one. And honestly, I was just kind of going through my Google feed. And this popped up. I think it was like a review or maybe like a preview of it. Looks like it just came out this past week or two, because I haven't found a whole lot. I was trying to kind of look back on the game and trying to find some information or like tutorials and stuff, just to get started. But I didn't find a whole lot, so I'm assuming it's fairly new. So evidently there's a Pocket City 1, which, like I said, I never knew about. But it's basically just like a city builder, a sim builder. So you kind of start off as a mayor of the city, and you got to build up. You just got your little town hall, and you kind of build up the city around you, and you can go down from like the roads, and you can do like paths and stuff to like the buildings and other things like that. And as you level up, you kind of unlock more stuff, like different stuff for entertainment and firefighter and police and all this other stuff. So this is kind of like, I'm pretty sure I've never played a city builder, not that I can remember. Like I've never played in any Sim Cities or anything like that. So it's kind of my first foray into it.
Yep. The screenshots definitely I know you're about to get into it, but the
Yeah,
city builder aspect screenshots that I'm looking at definitely give me SimCity vibes. It's been a long time since I played SimCity, but this is like the old school SimCity I used to play on like Windows 98, right? So that isometric tile, and then even like you said, laying out the roads and like the zones and whatnot.
yeah,
Even the volcano. One of these has like the volcano. I remember there were disasters that would happen from time to time.
yeah. It looks
Um,
like here you can like. Well, I'll get into it in a second. Go ahead as I talk about the
no,
game.
no, but like, so we have the city building aspect to it, but there's some other screenshots what I'm kind of really curious about. Like it looks like you can descend into the city.
Yeah, so you can kind of like in Google Maps when you drop like your little pointer onto like a street and it kind of zooms into that street view. When you do that in this game, you drop your little mayor guy onto the and around the pretty much anywhere on the board. Sometimes you can't drop him on a building or anything, but and then it goes into like not first person, but a third person view, and you're kind of just walking around the city, kind of like Grand Theft Auto style or any other like open world game. You can just walk around, and you can borrow, as it prompts you when you get near a car, borrow a car, and drive it around, and there's like another whole set of quests and stuff you can do when you're doing that. So it's kind of cool and at first it's like kind of cool because obviously you just have like a little section, a little square, or however you're like starting to build your city. But then as you're growing, it's just like, whoa, that's kind of a lot to just be like walking around. And you move fairly fast, but like I said, you can get into cars. And later on, as you're progressing, you get different vehicles. I think I actually got a helicopter now too, but I think one of the first things you get is a hang glider. So it's kind of nice to kind of hang glide around the city, and it gets you around a little bit quicker than most things. But so that was one of the reasons I wanted to pick up the game, because I saw that when I was reading kind of just the article on it. I was like, oh, that's kind of different. I don't think I've ever seen a game where you can do that. And like I said, I play a lot of SimCity. I haven't played any Sim games, but I'm assuming in like SimCity you weren't able to do anything like that or any other kind of city builders. I don't know if you've played any other city builders, but
I mean, I haven't played any city builders in like the last decade, so I
okay,
mean, they're or more. So who knows? Like they may have some of those types of features now, but
yeah,
back in the day, obviously they didn't.
Yeah, I know like in some of the strategy games or like the what do you call it, like the turn-based games, sometimes you can do that. So it's kind of like the cousin, of a city builder where, it's a strategy thing. So maybe, they kind of pulled from there, but it's kind of cool. And, the graphics are pretty simplistic. I mean, it's 3D rendered, but, it's
It is there a problem like if you're hang gliding through the city for it, as you go from one city zone to another, is there like noticeable like load times or any kind of like pop in or anything like that?
I haven't noticed any pop in. I was kind of looking at that today where I have my city is pretty built up now. And I was kind of on one side, and it doesn't render too far, I guess, but I didn't notice any pop in. So I guess it kind of pops in as you're moving along, but it's like far out though. It's not like right in front of you or anything like that. In some of the open world games, sometimes you see that, but so it's a good distance that you can see. And it kind of like draws it in as as you're kind of traveling, so it's not too bad. I would definitely recommend it if you're into those type of games, and it's pretty simplistic. I mean, I was able to get into it pretty quickly, like I said, without really getting into city sims or sim city games before or anything like that. But they give you like quests and stuff you can do. I think you can have like 5 quests at a time that you can actually do, or you can just build up your city as you're going along. I I kind of want to start over because I was like, oh, this plan I did for my cities not like it's too good. It's just like an octopus with like things everywhere. So and then as your city, you get like kind of not infinite but a finite kind of square, and then you can buy like the parts around you and just make your city bigger, or make your land bigger and build upon it. So
Is that in-game currency or is that like some monetization level stuff?
yeah, no, it's just in-game currency. So far, I haven't seen any. It is, I think it was $5 to buy the game, and everything. I haven't seen any kind of monetization, not yet at least, not that I've seen. You can customize your character, and that's all in-game money so far that I've seen. I haven't seen any other kind of hey, you gotta buy this DLC or buy this pack of custom skins or something like that. I haven't seen anything like that yet, at least. Maybe down the road they'll start doing that, but for right now, it's $5, boom. And I had money in my Google Play Store, so I think it came down to like $2 or $3. So it was kind of like a no brainer. That I wanted another reason that I wanted to pick it up, and not that $5 was going to make or break me, but it's always nice to have a little discount. But yeah, so far I haven't seen anything like that, fortunately. But yeah, everything's in-game money. You have an economy that's running, obviously, as you're building your city. You have to watch. There's like 3 main stats. So it's the money, the population. No, I forgot what the other one is. I think it's I can't remember what the third stat is. So those are kind of like your 3 main stats that you have to kind of pay attention to and make sure they're they don't get too low. I'm not sure what happens if it gets all the way low, or if you just the game ends, or what happens. But and then you can kind of like drill into those stats and say, hey, there's this is a certain percentage of the people are happy with the taxes, or with entertainment and stuff like that. So and you can you can build that stuff up. Obviously, you can make movie theaters and parks and beaches or beachfront properties and stuff like that. So to boost those stats. But I'm having a fun time. This is kind of I've kind of, even before this, when I fell off on Marvel Snap, I was playing Vampire Survivor. Excuse me. And now I've kind of gone off of Vampire Survivor, and now I'm playing this. This is one of my main my main games that I'm playing on mobile. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. You had mentioned the the natural disasters, so there's actually a quest where I can just like make a tornado happen, and have to survive it. So that's kind of weird. Like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, and you can like abandon quests too if you want to, and pick up other ones later on. So you don't have to do these things if you don't want to. And I'm not so sure if I want to wreck my city. I mean, I got a pretty good economy going right now. So I mean, like, if something gets ruined, I can build it back up. But it just seems kind of wrong to me to like unleash a tornado, on purpose, because like this scientist guy wants to see what happens or so. I forgot what the quest actually was, but he wants to release it to check something, or some kind of instruments or whatever. But I just thought it was kind of weird.
You've been talking a lot about the sim, like the the city building aspects and the city like you know configuration leadership aspects, but like so being able to drive through the city and does that feel like just kind of a tacked on feature, or have you found yourself spending a significant portion of your time in kind of that, so they call it here, like in this particular article I'm looking at on Android Police, like GTA mode or whatever?
Yeah, so probably at least a third, if not half of my time so far has probably been in that third person mode. And you can kind of zoom in and out a little bit when you're in that mode, but not too much. Like I can't like just like pull all the way out back to my city mode. I have to like hit a button to say, hey, I want to go back to the overview. But yeah, there's other things you can do when you're instead of just like running around and driving cars, borrowing people's cars, and jumping around and hang gliding. There's actually other quests that happen, or kind of minor. They're not like main quests; they're kind of like side quests. We got there's like these crates that you can find around town, and hit them, and you get. I think it depends on where you are in your area. So if you're like in a city area and you knock those, if you find these crates and open them, for the most part, I've only seen that you get. Well, at the beginning you get like tools and stuff, but then eventually I've just been getting like clothes, just like cosmetics basically for my character. If you're out like in the like an open area or in like in a forest, you get like either wood or you get some kind of material basically, which you need to upgrade certain buildings like the fire department and hospitals and stuff like that. So you kind of use those resources. But then there's also events that you can do. So like you could do like a block party, or there's like a ride sharing quest where you have to like when you're in that mode, the third person mode, you have to pick up people. It's kind of almost like a crazy taxi kind of a thing at that point. You have to go to the point to pick up the person and then take the person to wherever he wants to go. So or she. So there's other kind of, I think there's like a race one which I don't think I've unlocked yet. Like a street racing one, which is kind of weird. The mayor of your town street racing around his own city, I guess, kind of weird. But there's other things to do in that mode too, which is kind of nice. So there's other kind of quests. So it's not just like a hey, this is kind of a fun thing, kind of a deal.
So it's like a genre mashup, and I'm kind of gonna be kind of like it's interesting that you had this game, because the game I'm going to talk about is a little bit of a genre mashup as well. This feels, it seems and it sounds like it's a natural mashup. Like it makes sense if you're doing like a city builder to be able to like enjoy the city that you built, right? In a certain way. So whether you're doing Grand GTA or Crazy Taxi or collecting resources, it seems to fit. Like, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, and it was kind of surprising too, because that's what I kind of thought too when I saw the GTA thing. I was like, oh, it's probably just going to be you can kind of just tool around and kind of mess around a little bit. But no, like I said, you can do stuff, and there's goals and quests and stuff that you can do. So it's kind of cool. And it seems to, as I'm upgrading, and I find like different things too. Not just in that third person mode, but in the city builder mode also. So it's kind of cool. I'm enjoying it because it's like I said, it's nothing. I never really got into the sim games before, like even the Sims, like where you're just creating your own character and just do your little house area. Like I played it every once in a while. I was like, this one, I don't know, maybe just because I'm older and and it's a little bit easier. It's like I can just go in there and tootle around for a few minutes and stuff, and build a block or do whatever you can. So it's just I'm definitely enjoying it. And like I said, I recommend it to like I said, it's $5, so not a big deal. Any other questions on that one? No. All right. So let's hear what you've been playing lately, or at least the game you have down here.
All right. So my genre mashup game is Horizon's Gate, and it's like an indie title, and I would almost say it's like stereotypically indie with the pixel art and whatnot. Like it's definitely like the throwback 90s SNES era pixel art, but it's deceivingly, like it starts off and then like me going into it, I didn't really have many expectations about, like I didn't know, I hadn't really read much about it. I knew there was bit of a strategy RPG battle system involved, but that's about it. So when I got in, I was kind of surprised that it felt initially like, and I haven't played it a lot, so these are going to be kind of a stream of consciousness of my initial impressions, but it felt very Zelda, like old school Zelda, like game, Link's Awakening. Like that's like the way the maps are. But when you go, but then you can like collect resources by just kind of clicking the driftwood on the beach or something. And there's some little, I guess you could almost call them puzzles where you would like, put the driftwood on to finish building a bridge so you can cross it to get to a treasure chest or something. But um, it felt very like old school Zelda. But then when you get into the battle system, it's very Final Fantasy Tactics. You have your players on the the units are on the board. You control each unit of yours individually. You move them around the map depending on what you have equipped. They may have different ranges, and so you have like that whole grid-based movement. Try to position yourself to attack the other units. Very very old school. Very, I would say, classic strategy RPG battle system. I've seen different types of units that can do magic and ranged crossbows, and then you got your like swords and axes and whatnot. But so each, as I kind of kept playing, it was like unpacking more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and you start meeting up. You have your characters, and they. So there are characters. There does seem to be a story. Like you kind of get betrayed by your home empire, and who are like in league with these pirates, and you kind of steal a ship and escape and vow revenge or whatever. But it kind of seems to open up. So that's when we like jump to another layer where you go into this other overworld that felt very. So again, it's a very indie title, old school graphics. So the comparison that I would have would be, do you remember the game Star Tropics on the on the original NES? Like that when you're going through the like the ocean from island to island as you're kind of traversing the game. It felt like that. How the graphics are a step up. I would say they're SNES level. They did a really excellent job on the pixel waves, by the way. Like they must have spent some time on that. But like the earth, like they do like this like thing where like it looks like the earth is curving, so as you sail up it like kind of rolls forward. But so it feels very SNES, what was it, the FX chip or whatever that they did. So all that's cool, but like now it's like this Sid Meier's Pirates thing almost, where like I go to different ports and you can trade and you can upgrade your ship, and but then there's another layer where like you recruit different crewmen, and when you're in the different ports you can do different jobs and you can get quests. And so like I went into a dungeon and it's like a very Final Fantasy, going through the dungeon, and then I get a battle encounter, and then I'm in like this strategy RPG mode. So it's kind of like taking like beloved games from that era and just kind of throwing me all together into this, like, I would guess like it would be an open world game almost in a way, where you can kind of do what you want. I don't really feel like they're gonna enforce you doing the main quest, but we'll see if you need to complete those in order to really like continue to unlock stuff, or if it's just like you can do what you want. But it's almost like, back in the day, Final Fantasy was limited by the hardware, and Zelda was limited by the hardware, and Sid Meier's part. They're all limited in a certain way, and it's like I'm not sure how big the team is that made this, but they just kind of threw it all together and made like a epic open world 1992 called Horizon's Gate. So it's almost intimidating how big it's going to, like, it's starting to seem like I'm kind of legit concerned I'll be able to like actually like make headway in it, because it's like it's very charming. Like they did a fantastic job with like trying to do little accents, and they there's some lore starting to be built up. Like there's different like races, and it's like a very fantasy setting. So you got your like cat people, and just there's definitely fantasy tropes in it and all that. But it you can the heart like in the and like the development, like you can tell like the developers put some time into like making it. Um, Even like just the story sequences, like they always pause, and you have like you can respond in different ways. Like so there's like that whole RPG, like do I want to sound intelligent, do I want to sound just brash and you know a little bit foolhardy, and so they let you do that, that you have those dialogue trees and everything. So it's just like they're like, oh man, I wish I would have had this, back in the day. So they made this game. But um, I would say that as far as like genre mashups are concerned, it feels natural between the different ways, because they're all, it's like it's still an open world game, with this specific strategy RPG battle system. So it doesn't necessarily feel unnatural jumping between them. Um, it makes sense. It's just like, you're under this veneer of like 1992 era, pixel art when you're getting to it. So
Yeah, it's kind of cool that we see. I think we're probably seeing a lot more kind of games like this where it's like that older style, but with like newer mechanics. Newer like new age mechanics thrown in there. That just do more like the game now, like the game I was playing and the game now you're playing here, Horizon's Gate. So, and we've seen other games like that too, like with what was that one? It's the one pixel game. Shit, can't remember what it's called now. That they always kind of compare it to Minecraft, but it's it's just a 2D.
Terraria.
Terraria, yeah. So you kind of see more of those games kind of coming out like that. And how'd you find out about this game?
A friend of mine
Just in
is
this.
like super into it. Yeah.
Oh, nice, cool. Yeah, it looks interesting.
So
I never heard of this one before.
I think I saw it too on DB's. At least he owns it. So I don't know if he like picked it up or he got it in some sort of like humble bundle or something. Um, I can't remember if I saw that ever on Discord, whether he's actually played it yet. But yeah, it's Horizon's Gate. So I'm kind of wondering, like, is it a good sign or a bad sign about the genre mashups? Like, is that a sign that like is that like a legitimate creative direction, or is it just kind of what's like left over for like frontiers of game development?
Yeah,
So I don't
throw
know.
everything in there and see what happens and see what sticks.
Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully
but
it's not that, but I mean, it seems like
I
it's
would.
well put together though. So
Yeah, I would kind of argue that it's just like now we have the capabilities to like let the imagination kind of continue to go, like said, like Zelda. It was great, but like maybe there was more that you wanted to explore and you couldn't. So
yeah, it's just limited. So and doing the game in that style too probably gives you a little bit more freedom, so you don't have to bump it up in graphics and render all this kind of
yeah,
stuff.
it
So
definitely makes it capable for like a small team or a one man team to take on. But yeah, I didn't even get to like the fact that there's like skill trees and different job classes and all that. So it's like
so full
it's
blown
scary,
RPG.
intimidating, but exciting. Yeah.
Nice. All right, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if you get to play more of it and see if you stick with it or if it just gets too big for you. All right, let's jump into the news. First up here, which I think actually Game Logic might have thrown this story in here, but we'll go over it here. Konami opens new studio to continue, in quotes, continue sustainable growth in the next 50 years. So it looks like they released in a recent press release from Konami. There's a brand new studio in Osaka, Japan that they opened, Konami Osaka Studio. just on March 27th, so just a few days ago, or well, a couple weeks ago, I should say. So it's going to be a major production center for the company, and it's going to, as they said, sustain them for the next 50 years, evidently. And this goes along with another new bill. Actually, I think there's another new bill that they're actually still working on, the Konami Creative Front Tokyo Bay, and that's not expected to open until 2025, so a couple years for that one. But yeah, these are all just kind of new buildings and new studios that they're hopefully will be bringing out more games, because I mean they kind of fell off the radar there for a while, and I think just recently.
That's exactly what I like. Exactly what I was thinking. And as I read through the article, I was like, wait a minute, what do they even have like coming out? So I found like an upcoming games, listing, and it was like Silent. There's like a few different flavors of Silent Hill, but that was like the only things that matched on my little really quick and dirty Control F Konami search, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Ever since, for me, they fell off the radar because Kojima left. You know what I mean? So like, um, they haven't had much that appealed to me since. Like, I'm not like a Silent Hill guy, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at the end of the article here, let me see. Yeah, they had listed off a few Silent Hill games. So the Blooper Team developers who did the Medium, it was an Xbox exclusive. I think it's out on most things now. They're doing the Silent 2 remake, and then they have Silent Hill. This is not them, but just as a company, Silent Hill F, Silent Hill Ascension, and Silent Hill Townfall, and more. It says at the end of the article, which I'm assuming there's more Silent Hill that's still to come. So well, at least we know we have a lot of Silent Hill coming. But there's really, I mean, I'm trying to remember, kind of trying to go back just what they've released, and maybe some like, I wouldn't even say like remasters, just kind of like re-released games in the past few years, if even that. I didn't get a chance to look before.
Yes, maybe some Castlevania like.
Oh yeah,
they did have or something.
Yeah, they did have. Was it? I think it was a collection, wasn't it? I think last year that was released, if I remember correctly, of a bunch of different. I think they're actually like Game Boy games and kind of more maybe lesser known Castlevania games that they kind of bundled together and released. But I mean they're opening studios, so I'm assuming they're going to be doing something. There was one interesting quote here though. Oh yeah, speaking on the new building, it says in quotes, in order to achieve further sustainable growth and significantly expanding their entertainment field. So I guess that could mean anything really. Could be TV and movies, not just games. But I mean, I'm assuming that probably includes games too. So, but
I would say that you're probably right. Like, I mean, it feels like every major IP now is getting some sort of either television or movie adaptation.
Yeah, they have the Castlevania series on Netflix, I believe. I think it is that they've had at least a couple seasons. Yeah, so I'm assuming they're doing more of those, and they've had Silent Hill movies, I think, or at least one. I don't know if they did more than one from years ago, but that was a while ago. So we'll have to see what else they tend to bring up. But I mean, they got a lot of stuff in their category and in their catalog that they can go back to also if they wanted to, even just as a re-release. So I mean, they've been around shooting a long time. So going back to what I think even like the original Nintendo and Super Nintendo, I think. So
oh yeah,
I mean, other than just Castlevania, so I mean, they got a lot of stuff that I'm sure they can pull
from. So I mean, going back, like, I mean, you remember like the original, do you remember the Konami code, right?
Oh yeah. Up, down, yeah.
Yeah. Like right, left, A, B, start or something.
Ingrained in pop culture nowadays, actually.
So yeah, they've been around. If you can like have like a code like on a T-shirt like 30 years after a
yeah,
you're pretty established. So, but like, yeah, like you said, it was kind of. I was trying to think like what made like some stuff that really like got on my radar from them recently, and it hasn't. But they're like they're building, in Tokyo and Osaka.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like there are other main big franchises. Obviously, Metal Gear, which we haven't seen anything. Actually, no. What was their one game? I think after Kojima left, right? I
They
thought.
did five, or he helped.
I think he
Did
did
he leave
five.
before or after five?
I think he left after. After that was finished.
But they may have done like some sort of spin-off.
Yeah, I thought there was some weird like thing they did, and it was just, like pretty much universally panned. So, and then they have Zone of the Enders was another big one I remember for back in the PlayStation 2, I think
Yeah,
days.
they bundled the Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty demo in Zone of the Enders,
Yeah,
and that's why everybody wanted to play that.
yeah, they've done. They got the Gradius Life Force. Those kind of well, not really shmups, but what was it like the isometric kind of spaceship shooter? Maybe Life Force might be a little bit more of a shmup than Gradius, but I'm pretty sure Gradius wasn't, if I remember correctly. They did a bunch of like IPs, games like way back in the day, like Batman Animated Series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tiny Toons, Animaniacs. They've had the Winning Eleven, which is their kind of like horse, I believe, is like the horse racing game.
Oh, wait, 2011, that's not soccer?
Oh, is that soccer? Oh, okay,
Sounds like a soccer game to me.
maybe. For some reason, I thought it was like a horse racing game. I don't know why. They might have had one of those too, but yeah, I mean, and there's obviously others. Drum Mania, Guitar Freaks, Beat Mania, Dance Dance Revolution. Obviously, that's the big one in arcades at least. I don't think that ever really,
Yeah.
yeah, went too
See,
far on the consoles.
it's not something. I mean, that could be very popular. It's not on my radar.
Yeah,
So
I know that
glad you're
people
going
try
through it though. There's a
to.
lot.
Yeah, so yeah, they've had a good run. I think maybe the reason I remember them like a lot, other than Castlevania, was their kind of their the entertainment IPs that they did, like I mentioned, like Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. I think that kind of I gravitated that more to those kind of games than anything else. So
Did they do did they do Contra? Like is that them?
is that them or is that let's see. Oh yeah, they did do Country. Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking that was Capcom for some reason. Yeah, they have Country.
I,
Oh yeah,
that
I guess they've released some of those lately too. Now that I think about it.
that's what I had the same thought. Like every time I was like, was that Konami or was that Capcom?
Yeah, I know. I was
Um, Metal Gear Survive was the game you were thinking of.
yeah,
That was
Survive.
2018.
Was that like a was that a multiplayer game?
Uh, I think it was some sort of, yeah. I didn't even I did. I think once I found out like
I don't
it
think
was
it didn't have like Solid
co-op
Snake in it, right, or anything like that.
co-op zombie survival game.
Okay, might have been like a horde shooter or something like that.
Yeah.
Hard mode. All right. Yeah. So,
Oh,
but
okay. It says okay, Konami does own the rights to this. That's right. Yeah, that was, I guess, good for Konami. Let's do it.
yeah. So we'll see what they bring in the future. Hopefully, not just rehashes, but hopefully they get more new projects also. But it seems like they like most companies nowadays they try to do the remasters and stuff like that. I guess that's kind of good just to gauge excitement levels, I suppose, of the fans. So maybe they'll do new stuff. All right, let's jump into the next story, which actually I reported on this originally last week, which was, and this actually came from Rock Paper Shotgun also last week. Ark 2's, what is it? The Ark Survival Bundle. I'm trying to remember what it was actually called here. Hold on a second.
Survival Ascended.
Yeah, Survival Ascended. So on last week's show, basically it was reported that they were going to release this bundle, which included Arc 2, which is not even out yet, not out yet until next year, the end of next year, possibly even later, along with the remastered Arc Survival Evolved, which is called Survival Ascended now, which is being redone in Unreal Engine 5, which is what Arc 2 is going to be also developed in. And they were going to release those for $50, which they explain in this article a little bit later on, which I didn't realize, and maybe I just didn't see it in that article, or they didn't mention it in that article, but in the original article, that along with just having the base game remastered, they were going to actually do all the DLC, which is basically the DLC from the original Ark, is just different maps that they created. Which they usually, with each map, they would introduce some more dinosaurs, and mostly just the dinosaurs. There might have been more gameplay elements and maybe more like weapons and stuff, but for the most part, it's just dinosaurs and just like a totally brand new map that you can go into. I guess those are going to be sold separately from that DLC. So not only would you pay the $50 for the remaster, which is fine, I guess, it's not too bad, but you're getting Ark 2, which you don't even know what it is really yet. Like, we don't really know. I guess, and they say later in this article that there's going to be some kind of gameplay footage sometime later this year, probably like around E3-ish, what would have been E3 time when stuff's starting to come out. But so we don't really know what that is. But now what they've decided to do is they've taken Ark 2 off, and they're just going to have the Ark Survival Ascended, the remaster, by itself, with all the DLC included, for $60. So you get to pay $10 more for the whole package. But I mean, there was a good amount of DLC, a good amount of maps. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically 5 new maps that they had released. But initially, when this first comes out, you'll only get just the original island, which was just called the Island map from Survival Evolved, and then Scorched Earth, which I think was the next expansion that they had released. So those will come out when this comes out, and then Aberration Extinction, and then Genesis Part 1 and 2 will come out later in Q4 of 2023 and the end of Q2 2024. So you have to wait even for those remastered maps. So, and I guess some people are kind of still like okay, we get just the game, but now I guess you get all the DLC, but you don't get it right away. So it's like some people are kind of hemming and hawing still, like this is like kind of weird. And then also they are saying for the survival one, now it's just called Ark Survival Enhanced. Some of the things that they're upgrading or just doing better are creature pathfinding overhaul, which I'm not even sure that is, photo mode, DLSS support, and then just some quality of life fixes, and a better character creation. Which character creation I thought was actually pretty good. You can kind of like in like Skyrim and kind of those RPGs where you can like fiddle with every little like nuance of your character, like muscle, how high or low or wide cheeks are and eyes, and just every little aspect of your face and even your body and stuff. So you can have like this super like wide head, tall, just a small face or something like that if you wanted. But I'm not really sure what else they can do with that. I mean, but I guess they've got something that they're doing. But I don't know, I guess some people are, and even in the article they kind of mentioned how it just feels kind of weird still, even though.
But they're also shutting down the original servers, right?
Yeah, so they're going to shut down the once the Survival Ascended, or well, not Ascended, whatever it's called now. I can't even remember because they keep changing the name. Once the new one comes out, the remaster comes out, they will shut down the old servers. Mostly because they say not a whole ton of people are playing on the official servers right now. So there's official servers and there's unofficial servers. Unofficial servers you still would be able to play in because those are user controlled servers. Basically, they're not housed on they're the developers servers. So those will keep going as long as those people still want to keep it up. And then there'll be a new set of servers, obviously, that you can jump into once the remastered version comes out. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like literally like as soon as that new one comes out, though, they're going to cut it off. And kind of, I guess, Game Logic had mentioned that it would have been nice maybe if they kind of try to like keep it up for a few weeks, few months at least, for people to kind of
having
preview the new one, I guess, or just see how the ones are, but.
I guess I didn't realize that you could have private servers on this game.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of takes the sting away a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's not like if you bought the game and you enjoy playing it, like it's gonna completely disappear and you have to buy it again.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can still play the single and then multiplayer local which I think I mentioned last week, where when you do the local multiplayer, and local is the one person's the host, and you jump into their game, you're kind of tethered to each other, so you can only go so far away from each other before you kind of like snap back. Basically, like if you're not the host and you like run away, and as soon as you get further enough, you're just like rubber band back to them. So it's kind of stinks, and I don't really understand like how they couldn't figure that out. Like it can, especially if it's not the official servers, but maybe on the new one, maybe on the remaster, that'll be one of the quality of life fixes they do. But yeah, so split. The two are split now, but you pay a little bit more, but you do get all the DLC now included in that package. So I guess it's a fair trade. And from the article, it said it would have been about $90 if you had to go back and just buy everything again. So I guess it's a decent deal, and like I said, it is a remaster. So I mean, I guess it all depends on what they actually do to it. If it's more than just a graphical overhaul and just a few quality of life, and there's other things too that they said in the article that there's more to come as far as features that they're going to put into the game. So they just obviously haven't said exactly what. But I mean, for me, more than likely, I think this is still a Game Pass game, I believe. I know Ark 2 is for sure, but I'm assuming the remaster is also. So I mean, I'll just play it through Game Pass, which I do now. So not a huge deal, but a lot of people obviously don't have Game Pass, and they'll play through Steam if it's on PC. So even though you can get the PC version of Game Pass, but still some people just like living in Steam, or even if it comes to other systems like Epic or whatever. So we'll see what happens. All right, next up we have Microsoft addresses Xbox emulator ban, say it's based on long-standing policy. So this, I don't think we talked about this last week, but there was an update that came out where it basically bans you now, and well, I shouldn't say bans you. It just doesn't allow you to download and use emulated software through the Xbox store anymore, which I was kind of surprised that you could even do that in the first place. It's kind of weird. So basically, there was kind of a workaround where they kind of had blocked it on just the store itself, but you could still use a direct link through the Xbox Edge browser, and as long as you had the software already on your machine, it would like pull it up. Basically, it would pull up the software, and then you can emulate Xbox games. And I think they mentioned Wii U and Wii games, Wii and GameCube games also on one of the emulators. But then last week when they did an update, that was totally patched out now. So it just basically says unable to launch the game or app when you go to try to do that. And a lot of people were saying, a lot of people were just commenting, obviously expressing, as the article says, expressing their frustration and anger. Because a lot of people were, legally doing it. So they actually had the previous games. And, a lot of the older Xbox One, or not Xbox One, original Xbox games, that are not on the console, aren't backwards compatible. They were able to use obviously through this emulator. They had the games, they physically had the games, but they couldn't play them obviously because they were never put through the backwards compatible system. So they were doing this way even though they had the games. So, but obviously, okay, there's always the legal side, but then obviously people will just use it obviously if they don't have the game itself, physically or digitally. So they totally stopped that now, and a lot of people were speculating it was because of Nintendo was starting to, I guess, pressure them. But they said in the statement here that, information currently circulating on Twitter is not accurate. Our actions are based on a long-standing policy on content distribution or distributed to the store to ensure alignment with our Microsoft Store policies. The products that emulate a game system or game platform are not allowed on any device, which, if you've been playing games for a long time or even for a little while, you kind of know that you can't really, emulate games on others. You shouldn't emulate games on another system that, historically it's going to get, you're going to get banned, or at least, that's going to get shut down right away. But it had been going for a while. They didn't specify here on this IGN article how long. I'm assuming since maybe the original Xbox One series of platform, or I'm not sure if this was just the start of the series X and S. But I mean, either case, it would have been what those new systems have been out 2 years now, I think 3 years. So, you know, it's been a while since those have been going, and just now they're getting around to it. So, but
Yeah. It I mean, it's hard. I can see, I can see that statement being like, well, we weren't told to do this and changed our policy. Like the policy existed, but they can use it as a cover. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like Nintendo being like, you guys got to stop this now. Like, I mean, at some point they were just like, I don't want to keep playing whack-a-mole. Well, I don't even want to say they keep playing whack-a-mole with it because, like, obviously they were able to do it, you know, to lock it down. Just didn't mess with it. The other thing I noticed about this article is they did talk about how Phil Spencer, like I guess in 2021, talked about emulation as a means of preservation. This I don't think would fall. Well, in some ways it would fall in that category. Like, you know, you talk about original Xbox games, you know, it's going to be harder and harder to come by like an original Xbox. So it's not surprising.
no, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier. But like I said, you know, I think eventually people should have known that it was going to happen at some point,
Yeah.
whether it was for, you know, another company pressuring them or not. So, I mean, and I have seen people talk about it on other Discord servers. It's actually kind of funny when I saw the article from last week. I was like, oh, wow, I was just, you know, I saw people talking about this, and now it's all of a sudden it's shut down. So, but yeah, and I guess I guess if you have it in developer mode, I guess you can still technically do it. And that's like a $20 cost though to put it in developer mode. I think that's just a one-time cost, I believe, if I remember correctly. They didn't mention if it is a one-time cost, but I think I remember reading that before. But so you just gotta pay $20, and I guess you could still have it. So, all right. So that is all for the news for tonight. Unless you had anything else to talk about, Swiss? No. All right. Let's jump into our round robin and close out the show here. I haven't really been playing too much else. Mostly my main stuff, Fortnite and Rocket League and stuff. But I just wanted to mention Fortnite real quick because once again, I don't know what's going on this season, but been actually doing pretty well, as I think I mentioned last couple weeks or a couple weeks ago. I've been playing with my one friend, and I would say we get at least one, possibly even two wins, like every time we play a session. So I'm actually it's kind of nice that, you know, I don't know if it's just the matchmaking's better this season or, you know, what's going on, but we've been getting a lot more wins, and, you know, obviously we get those, you know, those games. There's been nights where, you know, we don't get a win at all too, but I mean, for the most part we're at least getting one win a play session, so it's kind of nice. But I haven't really been playing much else this past week. Just been too busy with stuff, and, you know, it's starting to get nice out, so start doing outside stuff. But looks like you might been playing a little bit more Death Stranding.
Yeah,
Sis.
that's kind of like the main game that I've been playing, with other little things peppered in here and there. But I continue to be surprised at how much like I enjoy the theme of the game. It's like no matter I know they're NPCs, but like no matter the way that they wrote the characters, and, you know, everybody's always like seeking the good of the others. Like, you know, you'll come to somebody and it's like the circumstances in the game world have like got them down, and then like you just show them, like you work hard for them, and you show them some kindness, and then kind of like, you know, heals them, and you know, they want to contribute too. So it's like a very uplifting for a game about, like, you know, post-apocalyptic, you know, and most of humanity's wiped out, and there's terrorists that are, you know, still roaming about and stuff. It surprisingly optimistic. You know, I like the whole theme of connecting with people and having, you know, like caring for people and sacrificing for others. So
So I don't know.
it's not like, my family hates when I play it because it's so boring to watch me just like hike across like the landscape, but I enjoy playing it.
So I don't know if you can answer this without giving anything away. So this is on Earth then?
Oh yeah, it's the I mean,
It is, okay.
it's the United States. It's not, that's not like surprise. It's not like hidden or some
Okay.
secret thing. It's like it's set in America. There's some lore, like I've seen some little lore email thing, like because like you get emails that you can read from the NPCs, and it's like, we don't even know what happened outside of America. It's like, okay, I don't.
Okay.
So we'll see if that's like to be determined, but
I always just thought you were on a planet, to be honest with you, from a lot of the shots and videos that I saw. There's like, quick clips and stuff, just because of the way the
it's
landscape is.
yeah, and that's due to like the story of like the way that like Death Stranding, like this, the that takes over. But yeah, it's been good. I got some new equipment, so like I can haul more stuff. Like I got little carts I can drag behind me now and stuff. So I'm I geek out enough about like trying to optimize my paths and doing as big a haul as I can each time I go through. So
So there's not multiplayer, but there's like, do you get like notes or something or like hints from people, right? Is that
you
how it
get
works?
they get likes. So like you can it's as you connect cities onto what they call the network, um, you can see structures that other people have built. So like so they kind of force you to go through the area by yourself. And once you get there and you bring it up online, then stuff will start popping in. So if somebody builds like a little tower that charges your motorbike or something, it might show up in your level. So you can use it, and you can see that, so and so Taomaster99 built this power charging station. And you can put when you use it, you can like hit a little like, and then when they play the game, it pops in that, you received a like for whatever you did. I built a charging station at one point, and I've gotten like 500 likes from different players, which is cool. Like, I mean, some people, like, you go across like a bridge, and there'll be like 100,000 likes on that bridge. So I think depending as you advance in the game, your stuff probably there's some algorithm that determines like how much like your stuff will propagate to other people's things. So um, it isn't like just spam you, but it does encourage you to think of yourself as like connecting it along with other players. But even though everybody's going through like the same story and the same missions, so
Cool.
it's
Yeah,
um
sounds pretty cool.
it's neat.
A little bit better than the way Elden Ring did it, which is more just messages that people can leave. Sometimes they're cryptic,
Yeah,
and otherwise they're
it's not messages, it's equipment. Like you can
yeah, it's kind
even
of cool.
like if you don't deliver something, like there's certain ways that it'll show up in like post boxes. So like I can pick up a post box from some random player, like Townmasters99 delivery, whatever, and finish the delivery, and then um, you'll see like, oh, SwissGuard delivered your package for you and stuff. So it's kind of neat.
Nice.
Um, I will say that sometimes though it's annoying because like they do a pretty good job, I guess, of like actually using useful structures that people show up. But every now and then, like I'll be like, oh, somebody built a ladder here so I can cross this, and then I'll use it, and like I did it once, and they built it like on top of like a rock. So I went, and then I stepped off the ladder, and my guy like face planted, and all my stuff flew. And it was just like that. Whoever built that ladder like built it in the wrong place, and they must have done the same thing. But it propagated in my place, and just at the angle, it looked like it was where it needed to be. So I used it. I shouldn't have used it. So
You're always gonna get those.
I was cursing DBQ hams.
Yeah, I actually picked this up on I think the Epic Store had it for free month or two ago. Or so. It was a little while ago, maybe. But I haven't had a chance to play it yet, so I definitely want to jump on it, check it out. All right. So had you picked it up? You had already picked it up on the PS5, or you?
I had the PS4 version, and then after I got the PS5, I sold my PS4 to a friend. So I think I gave him my copy of it, and I picked up the PS5 director's cut, like a used copy for like $15 on eBay or $20 on eBay or something.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
one of the few games I've bought twice, I guess you could say.
That's all right. We all do it, I think. All right. Anything else you've been playing lately, or just those two games, kind of?
No, I'm looking forward to Advance Wars coming out in a couple of weeks.
Nice. Yeah, I could never get into that game. I tried it back in the day. I think it was back on the was one on the 3DS, or if they redid it. I think the original one.
It must have been a redid. I think they were. I mean, they were legit Advance, Game Boy Advance, right? That's why they called it Advance Wars, I think.
Yeah. So I thought it was more of a real-time strategy game, but it's not. I mean, I guess kind of, but not really. Not the way I thought it was, like Command and Conquer and stuff like that. So, but I just couldn't get into it. So it'd be interesting to see how it is. I don't know if DBQ had played. I don't remember.
I'm sure he's played it at some point. It feels like he's played everything.
At some point or another, he'll touch it.
Yeah.
That's all right. All right, cool. Yeah, and like I said, I haven't played that much this past week either. Kind of that Pocket City was pretty much my whole weekend, just kind of building up my stuff. So, and then Fortnite sprinkled in here and there. So, though I did go back and play a little bit. I have played since I've kind of unhinged away from Marvel Snap. I went jump back into actually Rocket League Backlash, I think it's called. I can't even remember what it's called now. But the mobile version, basically. And I forgot that actually when you play those two, you get XP, like an XP boost on the other one, and vice versa. So it's kind of nice. So I'll probably jump back into that a little bit more this coming week. So, okay, that should be it for tonight. That is it for episode number 285. Thank you, SwissGuard, for joining me tonight. I thought we might have to skip this week, just because we had people, busy with life. So, unfortunately, you were able to jump in and do a show with me. Please join us next week for episode number 286, where Mr. Game Logic should be back, and he will be the main host of that episode. Once again, thank you, Swiss. I am Taomaster99. Please keep playing those games out there, and if you have any comments for us, you can always drop those in our YouTube video or SoundCloud or whatever, wherever you're listening or watching us. Thank you once again, and we will see you next time.